So yeah, so we're all developers now, which is fun.
It's not necessarily just about security, but it's also about freedom.
Their AI was, for some reason, also connected to their production environment, and it deleted their production database plus backups.
I think of WordPress and then Elementor kind of like Linux and Mac OS. Welcome to Impressive Hosting, a podcast about the role hosting plays in shaping the open web. I'm your host, Jesse Friedman. On the show, we go deeper than uptime and dashboards. We talk about hosting as infrastructure, about ownership, independence, and what it takes to build ethical, high-end WordPress hosting that actually serves creators, businesses, and the internet itself. Before we dive in, head to impressive.host. That's where you can comment on episodes, ask follow-up questions, and help shape future conversations. You'll also find links to follow, like, and subscribe wherever you listen. Today, I'm very happy to have Miriam Schwab, head of WordPress at Elementor, with us today. Miriam's a friend, and someone I get to see all the time at WordPress events all over the world. Thank you, Miriam, for joining. Tell us a little about yourself, where you are, what you're working on.
Okay. Well, hi. Thanks for having me. So, like you said, I'm head of WordPress at Elementor. I've been in the WordPress space for over 20 years, which is a very long time. Makes me quite old, I think. But I started off by, discovering it, building sites. I found it very interesting, and then offering it as a service. Built that out into an agency. Did that for many years, actually. And then sold the agency and founded a startup in the space called Stratic, which was a different approach to hosting websites. It deployed the sites as in a static architecture to give our customers like higher level of security, performance, scalability. And then almost 4 years ago in June, Elementor acquired Stratic, and I've been with Elementor since then. So it's almost 4 years, which I actually can't believe. I had never really been an employee before joining Elementor, so it's a new stage in my life. I'm based in Israel, and I do get to see friends like you at various WordPress events, which is really fun. And I hope, I don't know if you'll be there, but I'll be at WordCamp Europe. That's the plan. So
Yeah, that's the next thing on my list, actually. So I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be in Poland, in Krakow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for the background. That's really awesome that you got started and moved into Elementor through an acquisition. It's very much like how I joined Automatic, actually. But you're hidden 4 years. I'm actually coming up on 12 now. And yeah. And I gave an interview this morning, and one of the things I had to say is that I've been doing, working in WordPress for over 20 years. It's mind-boggling, right? Like, and I said the same exact thing. Like, it's just a reminder of how old I'm getting now.
It's like a significant...
how much the web and everything has changed. Yeah.
I mean, if you think when we started out 20 years ago, what was the web like? First of all, it was like an incredible just concept. I remember being so excited about it that, first of all, we could access information so much more easily, but we could also make information more readily available and reach more people. It's definitely through WordPress that I met people from around the world, which I loved. And I don't know if that would have been possible, A, without the web, and B, without WordPress and its ecosystem and community. So yeah, the web has come a long way. I do kind of miss those early days where things were so exciting and new, but the way I feel now in this like era of AI reminds me of how I felt back then. There's like it's a game changer. And so there's a lot to learn. It has like in many ways infinite capabilities, kind of like WordPress did and still does. So these are also fun times.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. When we got started with WordPress, there was this, the internet was still weird. Everyone was kind of trying to figure it out. People were looking at ways in which they could commercialize it and put their business online and solve people's problems. WordPress was one of those things that kind of just helped accelerate everything, get it going faster. You felt like the tool just worked. It was reliable. It is reliable, but that feeling back then was like, it was novel to have something that kind of just worked in that way. And I feel like AI is a lot like that in the sense that, a year or two ago, like it was kind of finding its footing, but now it's like, it's this accelerant that is getting everybody moving so much faster. And it has that same level of energy, that same excitement that I can do so much with this. I can accomplish all these tasks. One of the things I'm working on right now for myself is like having a chief of staff productivity assistant, someone who can take all the mundane, repetitive tasks out of my life and give me a little bit more freedom, and I don't necessarily want to apply that to work. I don't know if Matt's listening, but like, don't necessarily want to just spend all that time like doing more with work, but maybe like I can get a little bit of my personal life back too, like and ground myself and being with my family and other things. So like I'm interested in AI from that perspective and being able to like give me a little bit more freedom in my life. How are you using AI these days? We usually save AI for the end of the conversation because it's like what everybody wants to hear, but we might as well dive in and get it over with.
I can't help it. It's like every topic of conversation, it just like immediately goes to AI. For me,
Right.
at least, yeah. So I'm always happy to
Yeah.
talk about it, just because, like I said, it's so fun. So for me, I um, I think I've created more work for myself, like going in the opposite direction, because I so I at Elementor, I am an individual contributor type of person. Like I don't have direct reports. Um, I work sideways in the organization, but it's just
Yeah.
me. Obviously not just me all the time. Like it depends on what I'm working on, but I can, collaborate with this team or that team, and different people will work with me and provide, output. Like if we're working on a conference, then the design team obviously is doing design, not me. But I don't have a team. I haven't had a team since I joined Elementor practically. So everything is me. And I want to do a lot. But obviously my capabilities are limited and also my time is limited. So what I've done with AI is I've l- helped me do more. Um, which on the one hand is really cool. Like I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do so many more things. On the other hand, it's definitely filling up more of my time. Because AI, while it also it streamlined a lot for me, and it also gives me capabilities that I just didn't have. They often say if you're hiring, hire people who are smarter than you, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I feel like AI is my team that I've hired that's smarter than me, which is great. But
Yep.
I spend a lot of time managing AI now. I guess it's like direct
Right.
reports, documenting, making sure that things are running smoothly, that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, but like from an AI perspective. And so that ends up taking more time. At one point, I actually started to feel a little bit burnt out. It was
No
like,
kidding.
yeah, a few weeks ago because I was pushing myself too much with AI, and spending too much time on it and using it. So I've like toned that down a bit because it was getting to me. Um, so basically, I'm doing more, got less. But I don't think now that I've calmed down with the AI thing, I'm not necessarily working more, which is good because that was just too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's cool and fun. I'm having a great time with it.
It's interesting because I think in just recently in a previous episode, I had said something along the lines of like AI is helping me become the developer I always wanted to be back in the day before I really had the ability to kind of unlock that. And but now all of a sudden, wait a minute, now I can write code. Now I'm a developer again. It's a whole nother subset of like responsibilities that I didn't have, 10 minutes ago. All of a sudden I can write code now I have a responsibility to actually maybe do that. I don't know. Like, am I just adding more to my life? Maybe
I,
it is adding more work.
yeah, I think in some ways it does, but the same with me. So I started off doing some development, but then I moved away from that and managed developers. I never liked coding. I think it's like knowing or learning a language, and I know two languages, English and Hebrew, but I've never had the brain capability of picking up other languages, and I feel like programming is the same. But now that the programming language is just writing in, well, for me
Yeah.
in English, but you could actually, write
Yeah.
in any language. And I've always, been a communicator. So now I feel like now I can do that. And it unlocks a lot of things that I've wanted to do, and experiments I've wanted to try. And it's really allowed me to test a lot of AI in WordPress in ways that I couldn't before. Like if I don't understand something, I'm just like, Claude, help me out here, explain it
Yeah.
to me, tell me what's going on, tell me
Right.
why this isn't working, tell me what I need to do, and things like that. And I love it because I can really learn a lot that way too. So yeah, so we're all developers now, which is fun.
Right. 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 So, all right. So you're using AI for your actual work. What about AI within Elementor? I know Angie is like the orchestrator within Elementor, trying to help customers like accomplish goals and get sites live faster. How's that going? Are you talking to users about it? Are they enjoying it? Do they adopt to it quickly? How's it going?
So we actually just passed. I didn't announce it yet, but I don't know when this is coming out, so it might have been past it. But we actually just passed 20,000 installs on the repo, which is pretty good, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
We reached 10,000 like a few weeks ago, so that happened pretty quickly. Um, People are very interested in trying AI in WordPress, and it's really fun to see all the different approaches. Like people approach it from the Claude to MCP direction, and then from a different direction. And there's a lot of MCP approaches that are being developed. Obviously, the Core AI one, which is great, and some others. And so Angie's approach is a bit different because you just install a plugin and then you have AI in WordPress. It has its pros and cons. So the pros are you're up and running with AI. You don't have to like configure stuff and hook stuff together, which isn't everyone's cup of tea.
Sure.
Um, so that's a good thing. Some people prefer to work with Claude. So actually, the team is working on some kind of integration so that they can have that workflow that they want. But at the moment, people are testing it out a lot. And what's fun is to see. I guess it's just like that with AI. Because AI is like infinitely capable in many ways. People's creativity is really interesting to see coming through. So people are building like wide range of stuff with Angie in their sites. The strong part of Angie right now is what we've called Angie code. So you can like build widgets, like Elementor widgets or Gutenberg blocks or just general WordPress functionality with it. And so people are trying it and liking it. The feedback is positive. We also get some feedback that's more critical, but that's good because it helps us see
Yeah.
where it's like not so strong, and then the team can improve that. We actually started doing these live webinars about Angie, which is super risky.
So when you say live webinars, you're actually like,
Like,
are you demoing in real time?
yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Um,
Yeah.
so we did the first one we did to like a smaller audience test out, and it went well. And people were just excited to see us using it live and not like a shiny marketing video. And so that was fine. But we did another one yesterday, and I did 3 examples with Angie and 2 worked well, and then the 3rd did not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went, "Oh my gosh," and like
Sounds a
AI.
little bit like our panel in CloudFest last year, right? Like for people who didn't see this, I was moderating an AI panel and Miriam was on it. I forget so what I did was I hooked up ChatGPT to kind of talk to us
Like,
through
yeah,
the,
it asked
the
us
speakers and
questions and it
everything.
introduced us, right?
Yeah.
Things like that.
It was kind of sassy with me too. Like it had kind of an attitude with me. I forget. It gave you maybe it knew your title before it was like official or something. I forget
Yes,
what
it
happened
knew
there.
my
Yeah.
updated title. And my title
Yeah.
had changed by one word. It was the head of WordPress relations, and then it was decided that we should just remove the relations part, just make it head of WordPress. So like I hadn't talked about it or anything. And then
Right.
your AI partner introduced me, and I was like, whoa, that is a very updated AI.
Yeah, yeah. So it was cool in that sense, but then of course, by the end of the talk, it had started going nuts and hallucinating and asking the same questions over again,
Yeah.
and doing the typical, "Oh, you're right, I got that wrong. Let me try again," kind of thing.
Right. But in real life, I like a panel. It was amazing. It was such a good idea. I
Yeah.
love that. That was really smart. You did that. So yeah. So imagine doing it's the same thing. AI is great, and then sometimes it's not great. And then when you're doing
Yeah.
anything live with it, you're at risk. But we decided to like go with it anyways, just to like really show what it's like to work with AI. But when
Yeah.
but when it doesn't work, it's like you're just like, oh my gosh, that's and it's live.
Well, it's actually kind of nice that it fails in such a brilliantly like extravagant way because then it's not like a subtle failure that you're not noticing, right?
Oh
Like you're just like, oh yeah, you screwed this up. Like at least
yeah.
I know that you screwed it
There
up.
was no
Yeah.
question
Well,
that it didn't do what I wanted it to
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Right, right. And in that panel, actually, it was nice because even though, like, we made fun of it, like, we all had a laugh and the whole audience was laughing and everything. And so, like, from that perspective, it was not only entertaining, but it was also nice because it kind of had a dose of reality that everyone kind of needed at that moment. Cause I think everybody in the room was worried that like, who knows what AI is going to be and how's it going to work? And are we all going to be replaced and homeless and jobless and AI is just going to run the world? And then all of a sudden it starts hallucinating and it's like, okay, all right, well, we got a little bit of time at least, you know, but just in that amount of time, since that was March of 2025, it's now April 2026. It's been so 13 months. And I don't know that that would have happened now. Like if we ran that exact same panel, like I think it would have actually done quite well. I could have probably stepped out of the room and let it just run the whole thing.
Totally.
And, you know, it's amazing how fast we're progressing through this technology. Like when WordPress came out in 2003, or like just any kind of web technology, we used to have a release and then we'd know what that release was and we could kind of take a breath and absorb it and then decide to build the next thing on top of it. And you know, progress through these individual releases, but it's like every day AI is adapting, changing, modifying itself now and growing. And that, you know, you blink and you're missing so much.
Totally.
Um, yeah, it's wild how fast it's going. So with Angie, you're talking about it from the perspective of people building new things. What about someone who, like my wife, has her author website. She's got a book coming out, and so she built a website on it, and it has Elementor. Now she's got the website. She loves the way it works. She doesn't want to like modify anything, but she does want to like add new pages and things. So like the scaffolding, the structure of the site is exactly the way she wants it. Like, should she fear like using Angie that it might like change the whole the website, or is it like easy to use just to like accomplish very specific tasks, right?
So it's easy to use, and also it has a very interesting approach in terms of securing the site from AI work. So one of the scary things with working with AI on anything, I don't know if you saw the story of this app where their AI was for some reason also connected to their production environment and it deleted their production database plus backups. It's like a big story now on
No,
Twitter. Yeah,
I did
like
not see that one.
terrifying.
Okay.
So obviously, working with AI, you know, you have to, and they had all the guardrails in place. By the way, they like they had the skills that said, "Don't do this, don't guess, don't assume." And then when it did this, the I don't remember which one they were using. I think it was Claude. They said, "Why did you do this?" And Claude was like, "Oh, I know I'm not supposed to assume and guess, but I did. Sorry," but it was like done. Anyways, so working on a production site with AI is scary, but the team created as part of Angie this test sandbox environment. So whatever it's building for you, it's not actually available on the site live yet until you publish it. So you can create it, see how it works, and then only when like you feel like okay, it's not breaking my site, then you do this like publish. It's called like an artifact thing, and then it's
Okay.
live. But until then, it's there in your site. You can go back to it. You can work on it, but it's not publicly available. So your wife can try it out and see if it does what she wants. It's good for specific things, and where it works for her, she can use it, and where she doesn't like it doesn't work for her, she doesn't have to use it. But it's just there, and it can be
I'm
helpful.
gonna drop a little shameless plug here for people who are just listening. I'm holding up a sign that says backups are important. It's a little bit of a shameless plug for Jetpack, but at the same time, like I, you know, like every time I hear of a story like this, I can't tell you like how important it is to have third-party offsite backups.
Exactly.
And
That's
it doesn't matter if it's your repo, if it's your website, whatever. Like anytime that you have anything running in production, like it should not be able to even reach your
no,
backups.
no, totally. That
Yeah.
was one of the issues with that crazy story. Their backups were for something like it was on the same server, which is obviously a
Sure.
big
Yeah.
no-no. You need
Yeah.
backups of your backups. You need that redundancy where it's sitting somewhere else, separated, disconnected, just in case.
Right.
Like backups, wow. I mean, it's like should be the first thing that people set up in their development environment is backups of the backups, and like just also making sure that the backups have the integrity that you need, that you can actually restore them and they work. It's like it's so basic. We've been dealing with this for in WordPress, right? Forever. The importance of
Yeah.
backups, how to do backups, make sure you have backups that aren't on your server. And here we are in 2026 with the amazingness of AI, and you still have a situation where a company like can be taken down by not doing backups right. It's crazy.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean, this is a great divergence because like one of the things I talk about with WP Cloud all the time is that we have built-in backups. So we do nightly backups. We have a live sync database backup to another location. So we have automated real-time failover. But at the same time, we are encouraging our partners to also include Jetpack backups because it's another layer of redundancy. But the thing about Jetpack is that it provides a user experience that people can actually restore things themselves, right? And so it's not like these tools that exist that you have to build from the API into your panel UI, and then you have to help. No, Jetpack is like designed literally with an activity log, so it's almost like an undo button, and then all of your stuff lives, off site. The cool thing about Jetpack too is that like if you have orders, because you're an e-commerce shop, it actually keeps your orders persistent, so you can restore your site without overriding your orders, which a lot of people don't even understand that that's like
That's
a thing
very
that they even
cool.
have to think about. Right. And, you talk to or you go and evaluate other hosting companies and you look at the way in which they talk about their product. They offer backups, but I'll tell you right now, you probably know this from experience yourself. Like if you can't restore your site in a way that's actually like usable to you as a user, if you're given a restore point that's just like an image of your entire server and it's everything at once and you can't cherry pick things and you need a technical level of expertise to actually do it, you're not only hurting yourself as a user, but like the hosting company itself is going to cost them a ton of money as well because they have to actually hold your hand through that restore. And it all during chaos. It's all during a moment of time when you're freaking out because your site's down or whatever. So anyways, we'll move on from the shameless backup plug, but that was a nice
It's
transition.
it's important to still talk about, apparently. Like I
Yeah.
thought we maybe were
Right.
past that, but like um backups are like
But maybe
priceless.
yeah. And now maybe with AI, it's even more important than ever. And it gives you the thing I always said about backups too is that it's not necessarily just about security, but it's also about freedom. When you have a solid backup plan, it gives you the ability to experiment and not have to worry,
That's
right?
true.
So you can do a lot of the things you want to do. You can change things. You can feel free to update plugins and everything else. And you don't have to worry that everything's going to collapse under this update.
Totally.
Not that, yeah. But anyways, to circle back, so my wife should feel comfortable using Angie. That's
Yeah.
not going to affect the production level aspect of her site. She can go and experiment and play with it. That's very cool. So if I were to, we didn't really jump into exactly what Elementor is, right?
Right.
Is it primitive to say that like Elementor is a site builder? Like it's so much more than that. Like how do you go about describing what's the elevator pitch for what Elementor is if people don't really know what it is?
It's a really good question. Actually, I almost never have to give an elevator pitch because, well, we're mostly in
So
WordPress
many people know about it.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Right.
Elementor's used by something like over 30% of WordPress sites have Elementor installed. And I'm assuming that a lot of them are using it. So within the WordPress space, people tend to know what Elementor is. But if I had to give an elevator pitch, it's an interesting little thought exercise. So it is much more than a page builder. It is at this point like a platform. I mean, it's like, technically it's a plugin that you drop in, but what's happening behind the scenes is huge. So it gives people a lot of control and capabilities with regards to building out their sites the way that they want to fulfill their vision and their creativity. But also now we have like a lot of accompanying products to enhance the experience, basically to fill in the gaps where we saw that our users needed some extra tooling. So we have an image optimization solution, a site mailer for SMTP, like to make sure that the emails being sent from your site actually get delivered and are high quality. Um, we have manage now, which is a way to like have an overview of your sites and make sure that they're updated and things like that. And Angie, and oh, an accessibility plugin, which is actually very nice. It gives you a very easy way to see your accessibility issues and remediate them, like with one click. So now those are actually all offered as a suite, which we're calling Elementor One. So it's like a monthly subscription, and you get access to all those. And we're going to be launching more products that will be part of that suite going forward. So yeah, so it's much more than just a page builder. It's like a website creation experience. I don't know, something like that.
It's funny because Matt always talks about WordPress as like the operating system of the web. And the way I kind of think about Elementor, in both being a member of the community and seeing all the things that Elementor is doing, but also as a user of Elementor, helping my wife with her site, for example, I think of WordPress and then Elementor kind of like Linux and Mac OS. Like a lot of people don't necessarily know this, but like Mac OS is actually running on Linux, right? And so Linux is an independent operating system. You can run just Linux if you want to, but Mac comes in and puts it on top, a layer on top that provides a ton of extra tools, a different layer of usability, a different interface. It simplifies a lot of things for you. It drives you nuts sometimes too. But Elementor is kind of like that. Like WordPress is like the Linux operating system. It's like the more vanilla core functionality. And then Elementor comes and layers this whole, feature set on top of it and a different user experience. And the thing is, when you use Elementor, it does take a little bit of adapting to it. If you're very used to the WordPress core functionality, like getting used to Elementor, it does take a little bit of cognitive, investment. But then, at least in my experience, is like once you kind of get over that hurdle, it does tend to make a lot of sense. Like a lot of the things I had to get used to is like where styles lived and like global settings and things like that. But it's not a huge hurdle. Like once you get past it, it kind of starts to make a little bit more sense. And then all of a sudden, like you're unlocking all this stuff. But who's using Elementor? Is it typically the DIYer, or is it agencies, or is it both? Like who do you see as the typical Elementor user?
Oh, it seems like the DIYers that are using Elementor. I mean, there's like over 20 million sites that are using Elementor. So the range is everyone. It's kind of like WordPress where it's like everyone. You've got like the simple sites to the, huge publishing, Fortune 500 types of sites. Elementor is similar. But the people that I end up talking to most that are using Elementor are agencies.
Yeah.
There are agencies that their whole business is based off of Elementor, and they just build site after site on Elementor. It's like their power tool. And I really like your comparison to Linux and Mac because, for example, when I moved from Windows to Mac, there was a learning curve there. Also, you have to like adjust your thinking, the way that you're like instinctively doing
Sure.
things, right? But once you do, it's fabulous. So with Elementor, it's their power tool, and they're so used to it that they not only can use it, they can do very amazing, beautiful things with it. So it's definitely a lot of agencies, and I really like hearing stories of people. I actually just heard a story recently. This 23-year-old guy from India. I think he went to WordCamp Asia. Um, and he built up a business building Elementor sites to the point where he was able to start supporting his family, which was really important to him. And for the first time ever, he took his mother on a trip. Like she had never gone on a trip. And it's amazing that he can, build himself up and make a living off of Elementor like that. And, the people that do that are very grateful to Elementor. And it's just, those are inspiring stories. So people are building businesses around it, and it's great.
Oh, it's such a great story of empowerment. You're giving people the tools to
To
take
change
their moms on
to change
trips.
their lives. Like this guy, he's basically like,
Yeah, no,
you changed
seriously.
my life. Well, and it's like
Yeah.
amazing. Thank God. It's really
And
nice.
in talking about Elementor's parallels to WordPress, like that's a typical story that you hear about WordPress in general all the time. Is that in learning WordPress, you're learning all these skills around project management and development and design and usability, and you're giving people the tools to run a business and to make a living and to do great things. That's really cool. And in that same space, though, one thing I noticed is that the way in which my wife went about building her website was very different from the way that my mind works as a former developer and doing all these things with WordPress for so long. Like when I have a new web project, I have very much like in mind what I want to build and craft, and I can go and just kind of start with a very basic theme, and usually like one of the 20 whatever themes, and I'm off and running. She did it very differently in that she went onto the web and started looking for designs that she liked. And then she found a designer out there who was designing themes that were not in the repo, which is like so foreign to me. And then she was like, she fell in love with this theme that was actually made for book authors. And and then it had a dependency of Elementor. So it wasn't a situation where Elementor was introduced to us as a situation like where we were like, we're going to install this thing and then build a thing. It was more like, this thing has been built and it has a dependency on Elementor. So in order to get it, you need to buy the theme and then install Elementor. And it was a very different, cycle for me to go through it that way. I'm curious, how has that evolved? Because is it something where Elementor was going out and like recruiting these designers to use Elementor and bundle it? Or is it more of a natural adaptation that they just found it so much easier to use Elementor that they just started bundling it together?
It's actually the latter, that theme authors, I guess, especially in the heyday of themes, everyone wanted to one up the other theme by creating something more and more beautiful and with more capabilities. And I guess what happened was that Elementor was the tool that gave them that ability. And then, like the people that I described, they built one theme off of another and it became their power tool. And so they just kept building themes that depended on Elementor and bundling Elementor with it. That was definitely one of the ways that Elementor took off, through these theme shops that were dependent on Elementor, but it wasn't a partnership and it wasn't like a conversation. It just happened, which is interesting. We see less of that now, especially as like themes are, although your wife just went that route, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I guess they still are popular, and it is a good spot to start with your site, because even if you are a website designer, but like sometimes you just don't know where to start. The blank canvas is like a really hard thing to get past. So
It's a daunting
it's
thing.
awful, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do I even do now? Where do I start? Where do I want things to go on the page? But if you have a theme that's done a lot of the work for you, and it's just like a matter of tweaking it, it can
Yeah.
remove that barrier and then get you up and running with the site. So yeah. So it just happened organically.
One of the things that we talk about in this podcast a lot is around how hosting companies can do a better job of protecting the open web, but doing it in a profitable way. And one common thing that comes up over time is like providing niche solutions. So instead of just selling hosting, selling, very specific things that can result in greater success, like selling book hosting or whatever. Like, this designer was not someone who was, is in hosting, but they were solving a very specific problem for authors, in that they had designed a theme that was made for that author to express what they had written. And, everything's like book covers and ISBN related, and solving these very niche things. And having Elementor, I think, allowed for this person to do that without, or very limited developer experience. Like, based on the website and the way in which she went to market with this product, I got the feeling that she was not actually like a strong developer, but she was more of like an implementer. She was a designer, and she knew what she wanted how she wanted it to work, and all that stuff. And using Elementor was the glue that she needed to bring it all together, so that she didn't have to write the code herself. It might be interesting to explore how AI might empower someone like that to do more. But John is in the background telling us we're at time, so we got to take a pause here and break and move on to another episode. So, Miriam, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back with the second part.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Impressive Hosting, where we uncover the core tenets of great WordPress hosting. Do you have a follow-up question for today's guest, thought or comment on anything we talked about, a future guest suggestion, a hosting horror story? What do you think makes great WordPress hosting? All your comments shape the show. Drop them on impressive.host. We also appreciate you following us on social media and subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform. Finally, do check out our list of open source projects that need support at impressive.host. Whether it's code, community, or cache, you can make a difference. See you next time.